Hey there, fellow soil enthusiasts. If you've been following along with Soilsage Chronicles, you know I'm always digging deep into the world of soil amendments, and today we're tackling one of the most fascinating debates in modern gardening. As someone who's spent countless hours testing different soil treatments in my own garden, I can tell you that the choice between biochar and compost isn't as straightforward as you might think. Both of these powerhouse amendments have their devoted followers, and honestly, both have earned their place in the gardening world. But which one deserves a spot in your garden beds? Let's roll up our sleeves and explore this together, because the answer might surprise you. When I first heard about biochar, I'll admit I was skeptical. Here's this black, charcoal-like substance that gardeners were calling black gold, and I couldn't wrap my head around how something that looked so lifeless could benefit my thriving garden ecosystem. Biochar is essentially charcoal produced through a process called pyrolysis, burning organic matter at high temperatures with limited oxygen. What makes it special isn't just its carbon content, but its incredibly porous structure. Think of it like a microscopic apartment complex for soil microbes. These tiny pores create an enormous surface area that can hold on to nutrients and water while providing perfect real estate for beneficial bacteria and fungi. You know, the beauty of biochar really lies in its stability. While most organic matter breaks down within a few years, biochar can actually persist in your soil for decades or even centuries. So, what you're doing is making a long-term investment in your soil's health. In my own sandy soil, I've found that biochar acts just like a sponge, helping to retain moisture and nutrients that would otherwise wash away with the next heavy rain. What really sold me on biochar was watching how it performed in my vegetable beds during our particularly dry summer last year. The areas where I'd incorporated biochar 2 seasons earlier stayed consistently moist longer, and my tomatoes showed noticeably less stress during those scorching July days. Now let's talk about compost, the tried and true favorite that's been feeding gardens since humans first started growing food. If biochar is the strong, silent type, compost is definitely the life of the party. It's teeming with beneficial microorganisms, packed with nutrients, and brings immediate biological activity to your soil. What I love about compost is its completeness. When you add quality compost to your soil, you're not just adding organic matter, you're introducing an entire ecosystem. The microbes in compost help break down nutrients and make them available to your plants. It's kind of like adding a bustling city of helpful workers to your garden. Compost also provides immediate gratification in ways that biochar simply can't. Within just a few weeks of adding fresh compost to a garden bed, you'll notice improved soil structure, better water retention, and honestly, often a visible boost in plant health. The nutrients in compost are readily available, giving your plants that quick green up that every gardener loves to see. In my experience, compost shines particularly bright in clay soils. The organic matter helps break up those tight clay particles, improving drainage and making it easier for roots to penetrate. I've actually transformed some pretty stubborn clay areas in my garden using nothing but patience and regular compost applications. Here's where things get interesting, and honestly, where many gardeners get confused. Compost is like a nutritious meal for your plants. It provides nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and a whole host of micronutrients in forms that plants can readily absorb. When you're dealing with hungry crops like tomatoes, corn, or leafy greens, compost really delivers the goods. Biochar, on the other hand, is more like a savings account. It doesn't provide many nutrients directly, but it's incredibly good at holding on to nutrients and preventing them from washing away. Think of it as nutrient insurance for your garden. When you combine biochar with other amendments or fertilizers, it helps ensure those nutrients stick around longer for your plants to use. This difference became crystal clear to me when I started tracking the performance of my pepper plants. The beds with fresh compost showed immediate vigorous growth, while the biochar amended beds started slower but maintained consistent production throughout the entire growing season. The biochar beds also required less frequent fertilizing, which saved me both time and money. Both amendments excel at water management, but in different ways. Compost acts like a moisture buffer, absorbing water when it's abundant and releasing it slowly as the soil dries out. This is fantastic for maintaining consistent moisture levels, which most plants absolutely love. Biochar takes water retention to another level entirely. Its porous structure can hold up to 6 times its weight in water, and it releases this moisture gradually as plants need it. In my drought-prone region, this has been a game changer. I've been able to reduce my watering frequency significantly in biochar-amended beds while maintaining healthier plants. What's fascinating is how these two amendments complement each other when it comes to water management. In my mixed amendment beds, I've found the perfect balance. The compost provides immediate moisture retention, and the biochar creates long-term water storage capacity. When we talk about improving soil structure, both amendments bring something valuable to the table. Compost works its magic relatively quickly, binding soil particles together to create those coveted soil aggregates that allow for proper air and water movement. You'll start seeing improvements in soil structure within a single growing season. Biochar's contribution to soil structure is more subtle but incredibly long-lasting. Its stable carbon structure provides a permanent framework that helps maintain soil aggregation year after year. I've noticed that areas where I applied biochar 3 years ago still have noticeably better soil structure than untreated areas. Let's be honest about the economics. Quality compost is generally more affordable and easier to source than biochar. You can make your own compost with kitchen scraps and yard waste, or purchase it relatively inexpensively from local suppliers. Making your own biochar requires specialized equipment and knowledge, so most of us end up purchasing it, and it typically costs more per cubic yard than compost. However, when you factor in longevity, biochar can actually be more economical over time. Since you're not replacing it every year or two like compost, the initial investment pays dividends for decades. I've started thinking of biochar as a capital improvement to my soil, similar to installing irrigation systems or building raised beds. So, which amendment should you choose? The honest answer is that it depends on your specific situation and goals. If you're working with annual vegetables and want to see immediate results, compost is probably your best bet. It provides quick nutrition, improves soil biology, and gives you that satisfying instant gratification we gardeners crave. If you're thinking long-term and want to build permanent soil carbon, biochar is incredibly valuable. It's particularly beneficial in sandy soils that struggle to retain nutrients and water, or in areas where you want to reduce long-term maintenance. But here's my personal recommendation based on years of experimentation. Don't choose just one. The combination of biochar and compost creates a synergistic effect that's more powerful than either amendment alone. I typically apply biochar first as a base layer, then add compost on top. This gives me the immediate benefits of compost with the long-term advantages of biochar. For new gardeners on a budget, start with compost. It's more affordable, easier to understand, and provides quicker results that will keep you motivated. As your gardening skills and budget grow, consider adding biochar to your permanent plantings and beds where you want to reduce long-term maintenance. Both biochar and compost have earned their place in the modern gardener's toolkit. The key is understanding what each brings to the table and using them strategically to achieve your specific gardening goals. Whether you choose one or both, you're making an investment in healthier soil and more productive gardens. Ready to experiment with these amazing soil amendments in your own garden? I'd love to hear about your experiences in the comments below. And if you found this deep dive helpful, don't forget to subscribe to Soilsage Chronicles for more evidence-based gardening insights, and share this article with your fellow garden enthusiasts. Happy growing, everyone!